The titanic battle between Goku and Jiren ended as a result of Jiren having to best up Goku not just once, but twice during the course of battle by beating Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku and having to burn Goku out after using the Ultra Instinct ability, which put Goku on a comparative level to Jiren momentarily. But the question lingers, is Goku going to fight Jiren once more? And if so, which is highly probable, what is going to be the end result of their third encounter? On today's video, myself and Daz are going to be diving in depth with the next battle and having to analyze if Goku has any sort of remote chance in beating Jiren on their next encounter, or if in fact Jiren is simply too powerful to be defeated. And again, if you guys are new to this channel, then be sure to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. That way you guys can be notified whenever a Dragon Ball video is posted onto this channel, in conjunction to news, information, updates, leaks, and spoilers. Hashtag notification squad to be up to date with all the latest in Dragon Ball. So I wanted to go on ahead and take the time to welcome Daz to this discussion, as we are going to be talking about Goku versus Jiren yet again in the Tournament of Power. And for those of you who don't know who Daz is, he's actually one of the very few people that does fan animations, so I highly encourage you guys to go on ahead and check his channel out. Daz, welcome back onto the channel. The hype for Goku and Jiren, surely enough, even though it's reached its conclusion during Dragon Ball Super Episode 110, we saw that Goku is still in the tournament, so that means that he's still going to be participating, and if anything, competing down the line once the tournament reaches its finale. So what I wanted to ask you here today, very interestingly enough, is Goku and Jiren are bound to clash at least one more time during this entire tournament, at least until the very end, where we're going to have a definitive winner. So my first question to you is, what do you believe the outcome is going to be once Goku battles Jiren yet again? Because we know that he's not going anywhere, and surely Toei and Akira Toriyama has big plans for Goku. So once Jiren clashes with Goku again, being that Goku retains the Ultra Instinct ability, what do you believe the outcome of the battle will be as they head into their third fight? Because so far we understand their first fight was initially Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. All of that failed. And once Goku initiated the Spirit Bomb, he lost, and he came back with the Ultra Instinct technique. And we saw how by the very end of that battle, Goku technically lost because the power that was within him pretty much burned out. So Jiren got the upper hand twice. Now, at their third engagement, at whatever given point that's going to be, where do you see this battle going? Do you see this as a result, you know, favoring Jiren completely? Or do you believe that Goku is not only going to retain that same technique and ability, but also, you know, get the upper hand on Jiren and possibly defeating him? So, like, what are your thoughts as to seeing a potential rematch between the two once we reach the finale of the Tournament of Power?
Well, thank you for having me back on the channel again and for like plugging my channel.
It's always a pleasure, man.
And for this, if they do fight again, I feel like Jiren is still just he's gonna display what he showed last time, in my opinion, because when looking at how Jiren was handling Goku, he was all nonchalant, didn't seem affected, he was just all casual.
Yeah,
it's like he still had power left in reserve to just sit Goku down instantly if he wanted. So if the second fight does come around, if they decide to do it again, I don't see Goku winning again.
You don't see Goku winning at all?
Unless by plot, you know, of course, he has to win.
So. But the thing about the third fight, because the first fight resulted in Goku just getting decimated, and nobody can really refute that. The second fight was interesting because as Goku came back and he went, you know, at it with Jiren, we saw that Goku, unlike the first time, was able to push him back. And even while Jiren was getting pushed back, there was no sign of struggle on Jiren's end because he was able to go, you know, blow for blow with Goku. Nobody out there can refute that. Jiren went blow for blow with Goku, and that was Goku with Ultra Instinct, you know, having to be within him, having to know that ability, having to master self-awareness and the self-mastery movement, something to where even the gods were dumbfounded. And the reason why this is so important, and some people will count this as an ass pull, is because the gods have been training to achieve this for possibly thousands of millions of years. And here comes Goku, who suddenly learns this within a few years, having to train with Whis following ROF. I would say it had to have been a few years, because following that story arc. So it's you know, he hasn't been doing this for 10 plus years, 20 plus years, and out of the blue, once he suffered that tremendous amount of trauma that was inflicted on him, his key clash with the spirit bomb and whatnot, we see that he awakened this energy, this power, that not even Whis was able to understand what it was, because as according to Whis, he said, you know, everything is fine and dandy, however this heat, I don't know what that is, I've never seen Son Goku like this. So, assuming that Goku retains that same exact ability and power to fight Jiren, do you think that, in your opinion, you can see Jiren displaying more power? Because according to the first Kaioshin, and we just spoke about this off camera, the Kaioshin from the first universe said clearly, if you guys can go back and look at this, look this up, when Jiren and Goku were having the spirit bomb struggle, and Jiren had his arms down, pushing the bomb back with his eyes, which is scary, mind you, the Kaioshin said, I can feel a deeper power within Jiren. As even Whis said, Goku is maxed out, while Jiren looks like he hasn't even gone full power yet. So, going into their next battle, in your opinion, do you see Goku having a better chance in possibly using this power for a longer period of time, and as an end result, getting the upper hand on Jiren? Or do you still believe that Jiren, in your opinion, is going to just stomp Goku all around? Because even though right now he is being portrayed as like this big alpha monster, do you see any weakness being exposed from any other character, even Goku for that matter, that's going to give them the upper hand against Jiren? Or do you think that Jiren has no weakness at all?
I mean, based on what we saw, I don't think there's a definitive weakness to throw at him yet until we see more from him.
Right.
As Piccolo mentioned, he said that Goku was still evolving as, you know, he was fighting Jiren. His hits were getting much more sharper, more accurate, and more powerful.
Yeah.
Every punch he threw. So yeah, I'd say he'd have a better chance. But Jiren, I just feel like he'd still sit Goku down the same way.
But why is
in the end?
Why is it that you feel like Jiren is going to beat Goku just all around? Like, why is it that you feel like there's no hope for Goku in this case?
Jiren, since he just felt so casual about the whole situation, it's like I just felt like if Jiren really wanted to, he could have just stopped the whole fight from like the first instance if he wanted to. But Jiren seemed quite interested in Goku, because at the ending of the little clash, when Goku was in Ultra Instinct, he was like quite interesting beings. It's as if he was like analyzing Saiyans, understanding them.
Right.
And then once he was done, it's like, okay, let me just end this because I'm just done. So
now, do you think that the heat that Goku is putting out from his body, do you think that's going to be his weakness? Because Jiren even said it at the very end. He said, this heat, that is your limit, and then he blew him back. Like, what do you think he meant by that? And what I really wanted to ask you was, my second question is, do you think that Jiren is familiar with the mastery of self-movement? Because it's amazing to see how Goku came at him relatively a lot more than Jiren came at him during that second go-around, and despite what Goku was doing, it's irrefutable factual evidence presented before you that Jiren kept up. Even though Goku may have gotten the best of him in certain cases at the very end when he kneed him in the stomach and he blew him back, he wasn't fazed by that. So do you think that Jiren is familiar with Ultra Instinct, or maybe this self-movement mastery, or do you think that he knows it by any chance? Because it's a little weird to me that Goku instantly just learns this and all the gods are shocked. Meanwhile, nobody points out that as he was fighting Jiren, Jiren was also keeping up and doing the exact same thing. So like, what are your thoughts on all of this?
See, I think Jiren knows it in the sense that he knows the technique exists, but I don't think he can perform it himself, because every god or every Hakaishin angel and Kaioshin were like, even the gods couldn't master this, and if Jiren also knew it, they would have acknowledged him too. So it's like, I don't think he knows it or can perform it, but I do feel as if he knows of it, like knows of the technique.
Right. And
in reference to the pressure or the heat that was mentioned, that could just be in reference to pressure, because we know the higher the pressure, the more heat is exerted. Like, think of particles. Like when you compress particles, there's heat because there's friction between the particles. So
yes,
it's that heat is just in reference to a pressure. It's just different translation. And
oh yeah, go ahead.
And we know that in terms of godly power, there's pressure emitted. And we know that with Hakaishin now, or with godly ki, you have to be able to overcome this pressure by tapping into, godly ki itself to be able to withstand it, be able to move freely, and etc. So I feel like this heat is in reference to like this pressure of godly ki at this level being too too intense for even the Hakaishin to overcome, despite knowing and having Godly Ki at all times, because it's something you have to learn and train to overcome, as we've seen with Goku and Vegeta inside of Whis' staff. It's like, remember when they first felt Godly Ki, and then Vegeta was like, this pressure, is this what Godly Ki feels like? And then he took Whis' training, which is to, you know, raise the quality of your ki within yourself,
right?
And while keeping it concealed so it doesn't leak at the same time. And as we saw, Goku and Vegeta were able to overcome the immense pressure that was, you know, keeping them in a, like, stationary. They're able to move. It felt like nothing. It just felt like they were just in a normal state of being. So, like, I feel like once you have, okay, you know in Bleach how they also reference pressure when somebody's Reiatsu or whatever is pretty high, right?
Right.
Like the pressure increases. So just think about it like that. Because with Godly Ki, as me, Emish, and Sinner explained before, it's the quality. Since that's being increased, it puts the quantity, like the amount of ki you have, on a different tier, right? So the more Godly Ki you possess that's being scaled higher, the more pressure there's going to be. So it's like the Hakaishin can't master this yet, or haven't yet, because it's just too much for them. But in the case with Goku though, what we saw Ultra Instinct, it's the end result of Whis' training. Because, you know, this is angelic training. This is what Whis wants Goku to become, or what Beerus wants Goku to become,
right,
so he can have a rival in the end. So what happened now with Goku in the special, it's not that the form is unlocked via, you know, throwing spirit bombs at people and having them get PTSD.
Yeah, because a lot of people misconstrued the information that was behind.
Yeah, like, what Ultra Instinct is, it's a state of being that you unlock when you master self-movement, like the concept of self-movement. It's that mastery, you unlock that being. What Limit Breaker was though, is it was a forced awakening of this mastery. It's not Goku, you know, mastering it via finishing the training. It was just a forced awakening. So that's really all there is to, like, this pressure and stuff.
I feel as if what you said about Jiren being aware of self-movement but not being able to perform it, it's kind of weird to me, because if he's unable to learn the technique or perform it himself, then how does that even explain him keeping up with Goku while Goku was like in that same state? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Okay, so think about it. Like, I'll use me and you as an example. Let's say you're Goku, right? Or Whis, and you're using self-movement. Your body, it's simply reacting without thought. It's like reflexes, but trained. Yeah. It's reflexes, but they're trained and mastered, right? The thing is that if I don't have the technique, but if I possess enough speed or power to keep up with you, and necessarily speed, because that's really all you need. If I have enough speed, like I usurp you in speed, I'll still be able to catch up to you reacting without having to think. So it's like, that's really all there is to it. It's like, if I have enough speed to keep up with you, then I'd be able to, you know, counter your mastery of self-movement despite not having it myself. So
if what you're trying to say that Jiren has tremendous speed to even keep up with a self-aware Goku when it comes down to self-mastery of, like, the movements, then that's scary, because that's someone who has not, presumably enough, has not learned what self-movement is, and is still relative to someone who does know about that. So imagine if he himself was also able to acquire that kind of power. That's OP'd.
Yeah, it's
I think that going into their third fight, honestly speaking, there's something about Goku that a lot of people pointed out, and they were like, well, look at the promotional poster and the way we saw him with, like,
his shirt is off and everything.
So people were saying that their final fight is going to be possibly the most violent one, because at this point, Goku knows what Jiren's capable of, and Jiren knows what Goku's capable of. So as they go head and head, it's not only going to be more violent, but perhaps people are saying that it's, and again, this is just a theory, that Goku is going to embed or maybe combine Kaioken or his other previous transformations like Blue with what he has now, because
so they're hinting at like S's Red or something.
Perhaps maybe because nothing that changes his appearance, but the aura around him, because the aura that we saw in the poster and the aura that we saw, you know, in all of the promotional flyers and stuff looked very different. It's the same him, it's the same outline image with his base form hair, gray eyes, but what we saw in the special and as comparison to what we saw in the poster was quite different in terms of like the display and aura. So maybe perhaps he is able to fully awaken this power and just pouring in more of his energy into that power, into like that form, to allow him to perform better. And I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't necessarily say that Goku's gonna use Kaioken or something like that. I think that if anything, this might be something to where he possibly combines his previous transformation with what he has now to give him a better chance. Even though I don't think that his physical appearance is gonna change, I think that definitely going into their final fight, it's going to end as one would assume. It's going to be one of them dominating the other. But the way the way you explain things, it's just like, how the hell do you defeat Jiren? He not only pushed back a spirit bomb with his eyes, but he condensed it. He condensed
with his eyes.
He condensed it in a singular mass to where when Goku fell inside of it, it erupted. Even the Elder Kai said, with such an explosion of that magnitude having to happen at such close range, that would vaporize you. And weirdly enough, due to plot, of course, Goku wasn't vaporized. But we all know if this wasn't according to plot, he would have been done for. So, going further into this, I also want to talk about several other characters that might be key components here. Do you think anybody else before Goku fights Jiren again, do you think anybody else is going to expose any weaknesses from Jiren? For example, Hit or Vegeta, if presumably he fights him, or Frieza. Because a lot of people were pointing out and saying that the upcoming fight with Hit, that people think that Hit's gonna lose, but he's gonna expose Jiren for a few weaknesses that Goku may take advantage of. What are your thoughts on that?
Like, just Hit exposing weaknesses and stuff like that? Well, I mean, it'd be pretty cool to see, because it's like, how else do you just sit Jiren down? Like, from what we saw, he's like, you just can't do anything to him. So
it's like he has the Sharingan, right?
Yeah, he basically does. I mean, when he shot the ki blast, well, the energy out of his eyes and started controlling it to sit Goku down. Kaioken Goku, by the way, times 20.
He's Super Saiyan 4.
It looked like Sharingan. So I mean,
he Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta'd him like with his eyes, man.
Nah, worse, bro. He did it even worse.
Gogeta hit Omega twice. Jiren hit this man like 50 times before he crashed through the craters and stuff, bro. But like, do you see anybody exposing him for any weakness by any chance while they're fighting? Just for Goku to see, okay, I know how to work this guy now. Maybe if I fight him again, I can execute that. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Hit, I feel like I wouldn't say he's gonna
dumb, bro.
expose.
Hit's pretty smart.
Yeah, of course Hit's smart. Like, he's an assassin. He has to be smart. But
yeah,
based on what we saw in the previews with Hit Jiren relatively looked like he was handling Hit the same way he was handling Goku. Like, he was just casually analyzing Goku and analyzing Hit and then countering accordingly. Because like I said, Jiren, he's been analyzing these people since, you know, the beginning of the tournament when they started doing stuff. So it's like, he knows what they're capable of, but I don't feel like they're really gonna expose any weaknesses.
I mean, but with him being Hakaishin level, do you think that kind of takes away in the idea that maybe he's a tad bit broken as a fighter? Because it's like, if you're supposed to be Hakaishin level, confirmed by Toei, nobody can argue with that, and by Whis and all the characters in the show, and even as we stated, perhaps maybe even above it, how do you combat that kind of a caliber of fighter if he's supposed to be Hakaishin level or beyond? Like, do you see this fight resulting in someone dropping him, or as an end result he wins, and since he's a Pride Trooper, which happens to be a good guy, do you see him just winning and just wishing back everybody or whatnot? Because the way this is going and the way they're building him up, I mean, everyone can only assume that, okay, whoever goes up against Jiren, you're gonna lose. Like, you're going to lose. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. You put Frieza against them, you put Gohan, 17, whoever you put up against Jiren now, you lose. Because based on what we saw with Goku. So do you see that happening in the idea that whoever it is they put in front of him is gonna lose? Or by the end of this entire thing, do you see somebody, even if it's not Goku, but if it is, do you see somebody putting him out and dropping him and thus winning the tournament?
In reference to them winning or losing, I don't think that's, you know, the idea they should, you know, face Jiren or go up against Jiren with, because it's like, you see what he's capable of, and instead of being prideful and being like, okay, I need to win, or if I don't win, I lose, I just feel like you need to go with the mindset, okay, I know I'm going to lose, or that I don't have like a slim chance because of my position and his position. So I just need to find a way to stall him off somehow if I'm capable of doing it, so that my team can, you know, have a chance of winning. Because to win the tournament, you don't have to just knock people off as a requirement. It's just an added benefit to your team winning, since the team with the most players or the most fighters left wins.
Right.
So it's like, rather than going up to Jiren to be like, okay, I need to defeat you, just go up to him like, okay, I know I have the task of helping my universe win, but that doesn't mean, okay, I have to knock you off. It means stall you, and if I can knock you off, I'm going to take it, but ultimately I just need to find a way to hold you off until, you know, that's possible, or until my team can win.
You're saying have more members of your own universe still be around.
Yeah, because it's like, how do you sit this man down?
If you can't defeat him, I'll just outlast him, I guess.
This dude literally stood there, released his ki. He didn't even have an aura, bro. He literally just blinked, and like everybody on the stage was trembling.
Yeah, Beerus. I mean, the second he took that first step, and the whole world shook.
And funny enough, when Beerus acknowledged Jiren's power, he was like, for one fighter that had this much power, and then it's confirmed that Jiren still had power to spare. It's like, what?
Yeah, he had a lot of power. There was lots of reserves for him. Exactly.
So it's like, put somebody up against him that you know can stall him enough. Like, that's all I see. That's the only way I see you can like beat him in a sense without having to beat him, you feel me?
So essentially what you're saying is the only way to pretty much beat this guy, especially during this tournament setting, is to have more members of your universe still be around to outlast him in winning, which I think is pretty interesting because, as I said before, Jiren is undoubtedly the strongest person I think Goku has ever came across before, probably on a comparative level to Beerus, if anything. People can make the assumption in saying that he's probably even more powerful than Merge Zamasu, etc., because the way Jiren was displayed in these episodes, and for the episodes to come, it's just very terrifying to even comprehend the fact that they need, you know, something higher than what they have now currently in their status to defeat him, because if he is someone who is on a God of Destruction tier, then the only way to beat this guy, like you said, is possibly stalling enough for the timer to pretty much die on down for, you know, them to have more teammates remaining, because remember, by the end of this, if you have the most people in the ring by the time the clock wears out to 0, you win. So post your comments down below, guys. What are your overall thoughts on Goku versus Jiren once it happens one more time? It's not a question of if, it's a matter of question of when. Goku is still in the tournament, and it's safe to say that by the end of it, they're going to fight one more time, but is the end result going to be the same, or is Goku going to inflict significant damage in possibly beating Jiren? Post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are new to this channel, punch that subscribe button, guys. If you guys enjoy the discussion, go on ahead and leave a like down below. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.